Coming up, Iowa women's basketball falls just short in the national championship. And later, the university student government gets some new faces.
How the Iowa women's basketball team has impacted all of Iowa City.
Friday's tornadoes destroy neighboring towns.
This is DITV News at 8:30. Good morning and thank you for tuning in live to DITV and KRUI 89.7 FM. I'm Ashley Wheel. The NCAA Women's Basketball Championship was yesterday, and that's about all I can say. Michael, can you explain what happened yesterday?
Yes, I can, Ashley. I'm live right now inside Carver Hawkeye Arena. There's some construction going on behind us, but on Friday, Iowa became the first team to beat the South Carolina Gamecocks in over a year and a half. They tried to carry that momentum into the national championship game against LSU, but unfortunately, they were unable to capture the program's first ever national championship, despite a 30-point and 8-assist performance from Caitlin Clark, where she hit a championship record 8 threes. But the Hawkeyes did give up a championship record 102 points to the Tigers behind an insane first half from Jasmine Carson, who came off the bench scoring 21 points, going 7 for 7 from the field and 5 for 5 from 3.
Because, I won a national championship on the biggest stage possible, in college. I scored tonight, and that's what, pushed us and got us momentum, and I'm just proud of my teammates.
And sadly, in a game that was supposed to put a spotlight on the greatness of women's basketball at the highest level, many people felt as if the refs left a major stain on this great matchup.
It's very frustrating because I didn't even feel like I could talk to them, like they wouldn't even listen. That's what's frustrating, is that there wasn't even a conversation that could be had. I don't know, those two women didn't deserve that. I just don't think so. And then Caitlin getting a T. I don't know. It's too bad.
Yeah, obviously foul trouble, not really what you want in the national championship game. Sometimes that's how things go. And, I thought all I could do was respond and come back out there and keep fighting.
And while Iowa did fall one game short of their ultimate goal, the biggest takeaway from this season is how the Hawks' impact was bigger than just basketball.
Our team is our trailblazers in our own right, and obviously we can't give back to basketball what basketball's given us, and but it's a start and it's something, and it's been really cool to see.
They know their role models. They relish in it. And not just for young kids either. This team has brightened the lives of so many people of all ages.
I want my legacy to be the impact that I can have on young kids and the people in the state of Iowa. And I hope I brought them a lot of joy this season. And I was just that young girl, so all you have to do is dream, and you can be in moments like this.
Now, the moment may not have went the way that Iowa dreamed, but the legacy of this team may live on in Iowa City forever. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Michael. And like you said, we will check back in with you on more on women's basketball and Hawkeye sports in a bit. But for now, let's check in with AJ, who's live outside with more on what else happened this weekend.
Thanks, Ashley. A collection of tornadoes swept through the state of Iowa on Friday, damaging communities and driving people into basements and shelters. The storm destroyed several homes and severely damaged others. Cleanup efforts began on Saturday, and the Red Cross and Iowa residents came together to help those who sustained damage from the storm. The tornadoes in Iowa were just a small part of a severe storm that pummeled most of the Midwest and the southern United States. There were at least 31 tornadoes spotted across the region. No deaths were reported in Iowa, but the storms killed at least 27 people across the country. And following the storm, Governor Kim Reynolds issued a disaster proclamation for 12 counties across eastern Iowa, including Johnson County. This proclamation will provide grants to help families affected by the tornadoes. And The weekend started off with some pretty bad weather, but it took a turn for the better with sunshine and green grass, but expect more rain and thunderstorms to start off the week. Today we will see a high of 54 and a low of 38 with a 50% chance of rain in the afternoon. Tomorrow has a 40% chance of thunderstorms along with highs in the upper 70s. Wednesday has a 50% chance of more thunderstorms with a high of 68 and a low of 36. The end of the week will finally bring sunshine with highs in the 50s and 60s. So it looks like despite this poor weather, the sun will come back out. Now back to you in the studio, Ashley.
Thanks, AJ. And after holding elections last week, the University of Iowa student government announced on Friday their 2023 results. DITV News reporter Christine Valora has the results from this election.
With 1,570 votes, Mitch Winterland and Carly O'Brien, along with 31 newly elected senators, were announced as the winners of the 2023 USG election.
We just want to say thank you so much for your support, and we are here to represent you and support you as much as we possibly can.
Advika Shah, a first-time candidate, and Thomas Knudsen, a re-elected senator, share their future goals for office.
Say thank you for electing me, and that I am really going to try my best to work hard and make some great differences so that we can feel them in our community.
Undergraduate student government, it has a unanimous support for an increase in mental health resources and also an increase in sustainable practices here on campus.
With hopeful thoughts, Winterland and O'Brien share a message.
We want to do more for you.
The University of Iowa, Christine Valora, DITV.
And also this past weekend, the University of Iowa hosted Frequencias, a film festival focusing on contemporary Afro-Brazilian cinema and the Black diaspora, or the spread of people from their original homelands. This festival featured various film screenings from Black filmmakers around the world, along with artist interventions which allowed audience members to engage more directly with art from various Black cultures around the world.
And so expanding that in terms of what it means for a Black cinema to exist and including the margins of what that is, if it's not just an American experience. So I think we're expanding the diaspora and the understanding of what that is through this work.
My experience with it.
Screenings also featured conversations with the filmmakers, allowing for a deeper understanding of their work. These events shined a light on Afro-Brazilian experiences and the impact that these experiences have on filmmaking. And though the women's basketball team lost, there is still a lot to talk about as I send it to DITV Sports with Max von Grease.
Thanks, Ashley. While some Hawkeye fans made the trip to Dallas, others came together here in Iowa City. DITV sports reporter Johnny Valtman has more.
Yesterday, Carver Hawkeye Arena was filled to the brim with Hawkeye fans as they watched the national championship game.
If you hosted, they will come. Hawkeye fans entered Carver with early cheers, chants, and excitement for the national championship between Iowa and LSU.
At the end of the day, only two teams do make it to the end, so you have that idea in your mind that you're probably not going to make it. So getting to see that we actually were one of the two teams to do it is it doesn't feel real, honestly.
While the game was hosted in Dallas, hundreds of the Hawkeye faithful filled the arena to cheer their team on one more time at home this season.
They're all great role models. They do things around our community, and to see them get the recognition for the time that they put in and off the court, it's really great. It's a long time coming.
They're great. They all just have this chemistry that you don't see on other teams.
While the game went on, fans were put through the ringer of emotions. Bursts of celebrations after a three-pointer, collective moans from a bad call, and hopeful looks as they watched the game on the Jumbotron. The Hawkeyes couldn't bring home the championship in a deflating loss to end their season. However, their impact on women's basketball and sports cannot be overlooked.
How Iowa as a state supports women's sports, just from all the way back to Christine Grant, we've always supported women's sports.
Now I'm a Hawkeye until I die.
Despite the heartbreaking loss, the Hawkeyes are proud of their season and cannot wait for next season. From Carver Hawkeye Arena, Johnny Valtman, DITV Sports.
Thanks, Johnny. And although the Hawkeyes couldn't get it done yesterday in Dallas, let's take a minute to recognize all the records that Caitlin Clark broke this season. Let me catch my breath because this list is going to be long. Over the last couple of days, she broke legendary guard Cheryl Swoop's record for the most amount of points scored in a single NCAA tournament, scoring 177 points, while also breaking the record for most amount of assists tallied in a single tournament. During the regular season, Clark broke the Big Ten single-season scoring record and stands alone as being the only player in both women's and men's play with both 1,000 points and 300 assists. She was the first to ever have a 40-point triple-double and also the first to ever have back-to-back 40-point games. And finally, in just her 100th game yesterday, she has netted the most amount of points ever in women's and men's basketball in that short amount of time.
So I think in these past 3 weeks, she's done so much, but it's not just these 3 weeks. She's been doing it, since she decided to play basketball, it's been a progression to this point. So we all know what a phenomenal basketball player she is, but it's the person she is behind it all that's inspiring these kids as well.
Obviously, Caitlin Clark is a transcendent and generational talent, but the Hawks' success this year was due to more than just the consensus National Player of the Year. Now let's bring in Julia Richards and bring back Michael Merrick to break down the impact the rest of the starting five had on this incredible run. Julia, let's start with the two seniors that sadly won't be returning.
Well, Max, like you said, two of Iowa's solid starting five are hanging up their jerseys and saying goodbye to their time as Hawkeyes. Iowa's strong and reliable Monica Sonano may have fouled out in her last game of her collegiate basketball career, but her 5 seasons with Iowa definitely outshine her disappointing exit. Sonano was the 5th Hawkeye to score more than 2,000 career points and led the nation in field goal percentage just a year ago. Her chemistry on the court with Caitlin Clark will surely be felt as the Clark and Sonano law firm closes for good, leaving Stolke and O'Grady with large shoes to fill. And McKenna Warnock also played her final game as a Hawkeye yesterday. The senior who snagged the biggest rebound of the game against the once undefeated South Carolina Gamecocks is the 10th ranked Hawkeye for most made three-pointers. Warnock was a dependable presence in the starting five and a consistent three-point shooter and will definitely leave a hole in the Hawks lineup. Warnock does have another year of eligibility. However, she is looking ahead to chasing another dream and becoming a dentist. Back to you, Max.
Thanks, Julia. Those two will truly be missed by Hawks fans, but they will always be remembered for their role on this legendary team. But there are two seniors that will be returning next year. Michael, can you detail the importance that Kate Martin and Gabby Marshall had this season?
Yeah, I can, Max. Kate Martin and Gabby Marshall returning is an amazing sign for the Hawkeyes next season, as both players truly show how their impact can show up more than just what the box score can tell you. For example, on Friday's win against South Carolina, Gabby Marshall only had 0 points in that game, but she was the Hawkeye that played the most minutes in that contest, only sitting down for 1 minute. And her impact was clear to anyone who watched the game, with her defensive intensity and with her three-point threat, leaving Caitlin Clark a lot more open lanes to drive because defenders are terrified to leave Gabby Marshall open from 3. And for Kate Martin, what can't she do? Definition of a glue player for the Hawkeyes. This season, Kate Martin has had a game where she scored 20 points, another game where she had 11 rebounds, and a separate game where she had 13 assists. I don't think there's a thing on the court that Kate Martin doesn't bring for the Hawkeyes, and everyone in Iowa City is very grateful to see both of these players returning for one more season. Back to you, Max.
Thanks, Michael. Come back Wednesday for everything Hawkeye sports. Back to you, Ashley.
Thanks, Max. And Phillips Hall's Center for Language and Cultural Learning is newly painting its mural. The center provides opportunities to interact with people from all over the country to access and gives them access to resources in various languages.
So kind of like the theme of inclusion, we wanted to include all the languages that the university offers in both the language department and the translation department, and just kind of also add more color and liveliness to the space.
Decided to repaint the mural with a design that is meaningfully connected with the objective of the center. The mural is expected to be done within this month. And thank you for tuning in to DITV News and listening to KRUI 89.7 FM. I'm Ashley Wheel. Have a great day.